actually want to make their picks, because we also have to remember Phong Vũ is on the red side, so they have the ability to counter pick here for Zeros if they want to save their pick to last. Grabbing up that Kindred first doesn't show a lot and does secure comfort for Kirei, so I do like the pick for them.
Where will Phong Vũ Buffalo go? We've seen them play incredibly aggressive through the top lane. We've seen them play a bit of a poke comp in game one as well, with the Galio, with the Jace, and the Zoe getting long-range damage in. Here, the hover is Yasuo, but I'm not going to talk about that yet, apart from, just talking about it for that moment, because Galio will be locked in for Pallet, probably in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Galio going to be very, very strong. Lee Sin, as I mentioned, certainly a strong answer to this pick. This is the second most played for Meliodas in his region, so certainly can be very, very good. If you hit the Q, you will win the duel early game, and post 6, Lamb's Respite does not help you a lot because the Lee Sin can kick you out of it. So certainly that is a preferential matchup for the Lee Sin. We will see how he's going to be able to navigate it. If Kindred can get the jump, it is a duel you can win, but that does depend on vision. That does depend on catching that Lee Sin.
Have to keep aware of exactly what happens in that jungle. Bot lane, though, powerful picks here for Fenerbahçe. The Lucian and the Braum prioritized in this first phase. A very consistently strong bottom lane, and BigKoro's most played in the Lucian.
And I'd also say something that can really punish Galio. If Galio goes forward whatsoever, if you do tag him with that concussive blows, you get the Braum passive on him, it is a lane that can have kill pressure on a support Galio. And when you are going Galio and you're going that alongside the Kaisa, this is more about the team fight stage than it is about the laning prowess. And you have set up this composition where Kaisa can tag someone, dive in, Galio can follow that up, and you have kind of backup for this Lee Sin and the Kaisa herself. So it's a pretty powerful composition when you're getting towards the later stages. They've kind of drafted some early game power with the Lee, some scaling secured here from the Kaisa.
PVB having a pretty strong all-round composition, as you say, so far. The bans coming out in that second phase are the Nautilus and the LeBlanc. Neither team picking their mid laner yet. PVB do have that counter pick if they want it. Neither team going for top either.
I like the Nautilus ban. I do think anytime you're running double marksman, you want multiple frontliners. I think that is, generally a very preferential setup. Create space for these marksmen, allow them to have the comfort to be consistently auto-attacking, and Nautilus certainly one of the meta kind of frontliners right now. Vladimir, another strong solo laner that will be taken away. It's also a flex pick, so going to be banning that out.
I believe it's the first Vladimir ban we've seen at MSI. A lot of people talking about how strong he is. I've been watching EU Masters and he was dominant there, so no real surprise that it's banned out. There's the Silas taken away from Zeros as well by Fenerbahçe. So now the question is, Phong Vũ Buffalo, do you go towards your mid blind or your top blind?
I think you go mid-blind here. I may be wrong, but that makes the most sense stylistically when you're going up against a team like Fenerbahçe. It's all about Rune. It's all about side lane dominance. It's all about the split push, and being able to grab the Zoe here makes a lot of sense. It's a relatively safe blind pick. It is something that you can kind of navigate a lot of these matchups in, and we'll see what the answer will be for Bolulu, because he is going to have counter pick here, and it will be Rune that has to go blind against Zeros, the star of the Phong Vũ Buffalo.
Something like a Kennen is pretty safe up towards that top side. You can still flex it as well if you really want. We don't see that many mid Kennens anymore, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, and I also think the nice thing about this Kennen is when you're looking at, okay, well, what might you want to answer that with? Okay, Rise, that's already banned out. Vladimir even can be considered a fairly preferential matchup when you're getting into those later stages if you can survive early. You normally look towards ranged picks, even the Jace, right? None of these are options. They've all been banned out by Phong Vũ, so we'll see what the option is going to be here for Zeros. And also, if this is going to be an AD Kennen, more of a split push style, or if it is going to be more about the team fight, because that has not been kind of the style that Rune has more been going towards.
It's always been about that side lane. Hecarim will be the lock for Zeros up towards the top lane. I feel like you're going to take quite a lot of poke, especially if it's an AD Kennen, you're just going to get continually harassed with those auto attacks.
Yeah, that can be pretty dangerous. Even AP, we've seen in North America, in the LCS, we had seen some sort of Gunblade builds and things like this for a little bit more laning power, then into Protobelt and Zonias and more of that team fight style. We'll see which Rune wants to go for. But definitely, if Zeros gets behind against this Kennen, it is going to be very difficult. For the Hecarim, it's about, can you all in the Kennen? If you cannot, you are going to have trouble laning, because he is going to poke away at you. He is going to be harassing you. But Phong Vũ have drafted a lot of dive here. When you look over at their squad, Hecarim ulting into the backline onto someone like an Azir, followed up by Galio, followed up by a Kaisa, because the Fear is going to apply that plasma. There's a lot of ability to access backline, and there's not a tremendous amount of protection for them besides the Kindred ultimate. And as we said, that can be answered by something like a Lee Sin kick. So we'll see if they can pull that off. I think it's a much more difficult comp to execute on the side of Phong Vũ. Whereas, on the side here of Fenerbahçe, they just kind of want to play more, front to back, protect their carries in the back line.
Front to back with a possibility of a split push Kennen on the cards here. That Kindred ultimate could do a lot of work. Of course, Lee Sin can only kick one person out of it. So as much as you can kick the Kindred out, the rest of the team can be safe within that Lamb's respite.
Hecarim also not as reliable, but you can sometimes fear people out of the ultimate, so that is something else you have to take into consideration. Galio ult, if you can time it out of the Kindred ultimate, can also be very, very powerful.
Yep.
Landing that hero's entrance into a taunt as that expires can mean certain doom sometimes for that team. So all things we have to consider, but my eyes really are on Kirei and Meliodas here. These guys have been monsters so far in the tournament, monsters in their own region. And this jungler's duel may be what decides the group.
Third game of the day for both these two teams, battling for that top spot. Only one team qualifies from Group A. They face Team Liquid in those knockout stages. And coming up to the second round robin, 3-0 is the perfect way to start MSI. The question is, which team will step up to the plate and which team will be demolished by their opposition?
Yeah, and will anyone be demolished? I mean, will it be that close game,
I'm hoping
right?
we get like a really close game with a demolition at the end. Double aces, triple barons.
Okay.
I mean, we played a solo queue game yesterday, and that's the sort of game I'm hoping to see.
Okay, so
a
disaster is what you're...
a high-skill disaster.
5 a.m. solo queue game played by a bunch of monkeys is what we played.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely...
That's not what I want to see here.
Okay.
I want to see peak level performance.
Peak performance.
Yeah.
We'll have to keep our eyes on the invade here as Hades and Japone come in with the Oracle's lens. Sweep it out. Palette and BigKoro forced away, and it looks like Fenerbahçe are just going to go for this blue buff. Phong Vũ Buffalo know this is happening. Expect to see that vertical jungler we so often talk about.
I mean, Braum +2 marksman, it's just so hard to contest level 1. We saw it last game, the red buff being stolen away by a Braum setup here. The question kind of becomes, how much will Kirei try to take away? Is it going to be a full clear of his opponent's blue side jungle? Also, this means that Rune is going to be playing weak side of the map. So you're playing a matchup where you want to push and harass your opponent, be getting those autos in constantly with Klepto, but Lee Sin is going to be behind you, right? So you have to really kind of measure how you're playing that out. If you shove that lane recklessly, as the lane is going to kind of push against him, right? So now you're in a situation where you either expose yourself and risk getting ganked, or you just give up CS. So already Rune may be put in a bit of an awkward spot.
Kirei will get his first mark off the Scuttle Crab as well. Spawn towards the bottom side. Getting your first mark at 2 minutes is a very feels-good moment. He only took away the Gromp, didn't clear out the wolves, so it's not the full clear of that jungle, but still in a very strong position.
Yeah, it's definitely a good position, and Palette taking a really bad trade. That is something that you just honestly hate to see. That is basics. They are going to hit level 2. Braum Lucian, you have to respect. He loses about half of his health there. And now Rune is in the no-fun zone where the wave is pushed against you. You have to reset it, but you expose yourself to that potential gank. Thankfully for him, Meliodas is down on the Scuttle. His Trinket Ward did come back up, so at least he's going to have some pre-warning if that does gank.
Yeah, he'll know if Meliodas wants to go back up for that gank. It looks like Kirei is
behind him.
Just going to go around towards those wolves. Ruin has the electrical surge and lightning rush will just be able to stun up Meliodas underneath that minion wave. Kirei may be looking for a level 3 dive here. The wave is pushed in, it's massive as well. Palette and BigKoro have to defend. The taunt comes out, but all of Fenerbahçe just dodge away from it. Japone tanking up the tower. First blood goes down. There's the teleport, and Kirei will fall as well. 1-for-1 trade underneath the tower. The TP comes out. Zeros joins BigKoro down towards this bottom side. Hades does have the flash. Will get knocked back with the devastating charge, but can just flash across the wall.
I'd honestly say worth for Fenerbahçe, especially because you got Zeros to TP away from his lane in a losing early game matchup. That is going to be tough for him. So certainly a pretty heavy cost there. Kirei sneaking in behind. They know this is double level 2 against triple level 3. Japone starts the dive. He is actually tanking up as many shots as possible. Very well handled there by them. They are able to trade a kill back. But BigKoro does not pick up the kill credit.
That's the thing, it's where the kills go as well. You can look at it in itemization down towards that bottom side. Hades has gone back, has a Caulfield's Warhammer, first item on the Lucian, because he gets that kill, he had enough CS, and he can start building up this advantage down towards the bottom side with such an aggressive duo in the form of the Braum. And Kirei's coming down here once again.
Yeah, he's here again, wants to put on pressure. Pallet, way too far up.
He does have flash, uses Justice Punch, pops the taunt down as well, concussive blows will land, there's the stun, and Pallet has nowhere to go. Kirei takes it. And Fenerbahçe don't need to play through top. They can play through any lane, it seems. They're going towards bottom lane.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be the case. It looked like Pallet was trying to push in that wave and reset it. BigKoro, I think, was concerned about the freeze. They tried to get it shoved in because Lucian went back earlier to get the buy. They weren't able to do it, so Kaisa was looking for a recall while Pallet was trying to escort that minion wave in, and that is what creates that play. But a really good read here from Fenerbahçe, and Greed honestly punishing on either side at times here. These guys trying to fully push out that wave before they do recall, and they are going to pay for it.
Meliodas not really having the impact on the map we have seen him have in games gone past. 1,000 gold lead for Fenerbahçe. Ruin doing a good job of staying even on farm in this top lane as well. Teleports back. Looks like he's going towards the AD Kennen with that Vamp Scepter in his pocket. Yeah,
we'll see if it's going to be Gunblade, as it is possible, but definitely, it's more his playstyle, I think, to play AD, and he's actually looking to set up a freeze. Because there's no teleport on Zeros, this is going to deny a lot of those minions. But honestly, credit to Zeros being ahead in farm while TPing away from the lane when Rune TP'd back to the lane in a matchup that's pretty tough. Rune was playing weak side of the map, so there is, kind of some of that reasoning.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Like,
yeah, but either way, I think, as Zeros, you're going to be pretty happy to be even, but he will be going to behind on experience. So it's level 6 already for Rune. You're walking back as level 5, and you have to be pretty careful.
Kirei gets his second mark as well, taking down that Gromp, so he's on his way towards that 4-mark point. We talk about it all the time, get that extra 75 attack range. It just really buffs up how strong that Kindred can be. Maybe even looking for a dive down towards the bottom lane here once again.
Yeah.
Sitting on that blast gun for a while, Meliodas coming in.
Meliodas has to protect his bottom lane. I mean, the farm advantage is just disgusting at this point. 58, 230, and you have a kill on top of your opponent, so that is very, very dangerous. He is going to collect some of this farm at that turret. But we'll see if they can keep this close. It looks like Hades is going to be going towards the Essence Reaver build. Yeah. This is, I would say, generally kind of weaker early game compared to the Bleed of the Rune King, but it does scale a lot better. It's incredibly powerful, especially in combination when you do have that Infinity Edge plus Zeal. You are going to be hitting a very, very kind of powerful 3 items, and your team fighting, scaling, I think, is more powerful than kind of the more standard Blade of the Rune King, Black Cleaver style builds that most people go for.
Have a lot of damage in the game, does progress. Slicing Maelstrom used here by Ruin in the top lane. Ensemble Onslaught comes out, the flash away from Ruin, but Zero's just on the chase underneath the tower. The Ignite is ticking, and he takes him out in the 1v1. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Hades caught out as well. Concussive blows will not proc on Pallet. Japone trying to do what he can, but the Ignite on BigKoro is not going to be enough. Phong Vũ Buffalo just answering on the map here. The plasma stack's building up. Winds of War comes in, but Kirei there just in time. He will take down the Galio and answer a kill in that bottom lane.
Yeah, Kirei able to get a kill back there, but they lose the 2v2 despite the big advantage, despite the matchup advantage as well. So we'll have to see how that was actually played. Hades has both the summoners as well, so maybe just got burst down straight up in a taunt, not really sure. And we're going to be seeing this solo kill here one more time. Zeros hits level 6. He knows he has the Ignite. He knows he has the ultimate. Ultimate goes in, Ignite goes down. He does nail it and just walks away. Able to get that, so yeah, taunt flash straight onto him. Gets burst down. It looks like in the replay heal was not up, and perhaps the flash would not have saved him. I'm not sure on the summoners there. Pallet continuing forward, doesn't think he can actually get out as Kirei arrives, so Kindred will grab a kill back.
It felt a little bit greedy from BigKoro there to flash in for the kill on towards the Braum. Now they have neither of their sums in that bottom lane as well, which means Kirei can just come for that repeat gank towards the bottom side.
It's definitely something they're going to have to be careful about, but credit to them. Getting 2v2 kill, against Lucian Braum, who is very far ahead, I think is something you're going to be really, really happy to see. And that at the same time is a solo kill from Zeros up against Ruin. That's that critical matchup that Fenerbahçe loves to play through. They want this top laner winning. They want this guy ahead and dominating the side lane. Getting solo killed is not a good start for that.
I think every time we see, BigKoro and Pallet at international events, we always talk about how strong that bot lane can be. Pallet especially can make some of these really big plays. Meliodas trying to steal away the blue here. The Slicing Maelstrom does come out. The chase in as well from Bolulu. Naul on his way up. Has the heal, has the paddle star as well. Won't quite connect. and misses with the Sleepy Trouble bubble as well.
Yeah, they're going to get that blue buff. Zeros, I do believe, was the one to claim it and will be able to walk out of there. Still, Hades going forward. This is still a very powerful duo, and Phong Vũ will have to be careful about that.
And you're still 30 farm behind. The kills haven't been going over to the Kaisa either, so she's only sitting on the pickaxe and the Kirchi shard right now. Some plates going down in favor of Fenerbahçe, about 1,000 gold lead 9 minutes in, and it's been action all over the place here, Azael. I kind of feel he needs to take a breath and just reset.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the jungler's paradise, though, when people are playing so aggressive. When lanes are trading heavily and people are low health, you have a lot of options of where to go, of where to be, and so far as the junglers go, it's been Kirei who has been getting the best of this matchup. He has been having more impact, and now back here down to that bottom lane. We'll see if they can catch Pallet.
No flash on
Don't
Pallet.
even know he's there.
Don't know he's there. The jungler around the corner though. Japone jumps in. Glacial Fisher lands. Here's the taunt. And here comes Meliodas. They're looking for Japone to teleport in from behind. Zeros will take down the kill. Kirei and Hades with Bolulu have to run away. Sleepy Trouble Bubble doesn't quite connect. Zeros down to about 300 HP. But Fenerbahçe are fighting a losing battle. A 3v5 in this bottom lane as we still see Ruin pushing in top.
Zeros is just having so much impact. Winning the top lane 1v1 despite 2 teleports to bot lane is such a huge discrepancy. And yes, Ruin will pick up some of these turret plates, but at the same time, it's another kill on the bot side. It is this bottom lane pressured more heavily once more here, and we'll see if Naul can shove in mid. Phong Vu's top laner really kind of living up to his reputation thus far.
It's feeling very much like a battle between top and jungle. Zeros on one side, Kirei on the other. And we can see here, Japone thinks they can get the kill, but they don't expect Meliodas.
Yeah, Japone honestly with a really nice ult flash. He goes in, he does actually knock BigKoro out of the ultimate, interrupting that, but Zeros comes in, cleans up the kill. Both mid laners arrive, and it is Fenerbahçe who's down a man, so they cannot continue on the fight.
You can see a game between Fenerbahçe's jungler and Phong Vũ Buffalo's top laner. Both of them sitting at 2 kills. The CS and such, a little bit difficult to compare across the lanes, but you can see very even on gold. Pretty even on damage done so far this game as well. And the question is, who will come up trumps? Who will be able to carry their team through the next 10 minutes or so? Because you feel those will be the defining moments of this game.
It certainly will, and Kirei is going to be so important for this squad. He is where a lot of the gold is. He has been playing incredibly well thus far, and it's also going to be on him to time the Lem's Respite very, very well against all this dive, to take into consideration things like the Lee Sin kick, the Hecarim fear, all these different kind of extra things that you have to calculate for.
I think Kirei is one of those players where you look at his history and you actually think about how inspirational it is at times. You know, he went through North America as he comes in to try and steal away this Rift and Meliodas just kicks him away, but Kirei flashes in. The smite comes down. I believe that was picked up by Kirei.
I think Meliodas got it.
Meliodas gets it because Kirei cannot pick it up.
He's on guard duty now.
Got it, yeah.
We'll see if he's going to actually stay around and try to protect this until it expires. It does have quite a while. Naul is looking for this. He could flash over and get it.
Flashes over, picks it up, takes the flash, flashes out.
I like it.
Just Zoe things, Azael.
I like
Zoe
it.
things. Felt cute, might flash out later. We're in here trading into Zeros in the top lane. Kirei on his way up as well. The stun lands. Zeros goes in with the ensemble onto it. Meliodas with the follow as well. They get the kill. Lamb's Respite comes out. Pallet there with a hero's entrance to try and protect his top laner. Zeros still alive. The shutdown comes out. But Lulu trying to shuffle back all of PVB. Rift out someone of mid lane as one kill goes down in the top. And Phong Vũ Buffalo once again coming out on top.
Yeah, trading back and forth, but it is Phong Vũ that comes out on top again. Kirei not able to save Rune with that ultimate, and at the same time, the Rift Herald got dropped mid lane when Bolulu was on that roam. So this is just going to be a straight up turret going down, very likely here to Naul. The TP is coming in. We'll see if we can actually
time,
stop.
I think, here. I don't think he stops the tower going down. Tower will fall, and Phong Vũ Buffalo totally turned the game there. A couple of kills going over to Meliodas, now sitting at 2-0-1 on that Lee Sin, because after this Rift Tower gets taken, you actually think Fenerbahçe have caught out Zeros. You think they're in a good position.
Yeah, you definitely do. You know, they are kind of going forward. Rune certainly at a strong point. The Q does miss, so he says, all right, I can actually turn this around and look to engage. He's going forward onto Zeros, does have him down quite low, but then they turn, they burst him down. The Q from Lee Sin connects. They throw the Hecarim ult out, the Ignite ult instantly knocking him down before Kirei can land the ultimate. And then a well-timed taunt here from Pallet does allow them to clean one more up. Good roams, though, from Japone and Bolulu to actually trade back a kill. but the fact that they lost mid-turret at the same time for that roam is very punishing.
It definitely is. That Zoe sitting on quite a lot of gold now, has the Ludens. Is Hextech Gunblade finished on Ruin in that top lane? So maybe more of a team fight Kennen as we see this game develop.
Yeah, you know, the Gunblade really is going to help you out more in the 1v1 at first, but you can kind of build towards AP, which is more team fight oriented later on. So it's kind of a little bit of a middle ground, right? If you're going full on, you know, Blade of the Rune King, Hurricane, all that style, you basically have to split push. What this build is meant to do is allow you to have success in the lane and then build into more of that AP style, you know, with perhaps Azonias or Morellos or whatever you want to go for, and be able to really have success still in the team fights later on.
Rune's still trading here with Zeros. Kirei on his way up. Doesn't have the flash, doesn't really have a chase possibility. Looking for that stun lock, unstoppable onslaught used by Zeros to get back underneath the tower. But that tower's down to half HP already. No teleport on Zeros as well means that tower's going to take a little bit of a beating.
It certainly will. And for Zeros, it's very tough in this sort of a matchup, especially against the Gunblade, because you're going to heal up from those trades over and over and over on the side of the Kennen. So you have to be able to have a 100-0 all-in, essentially, or you can't actually challenge him.
It's actually really intriguing to see the ebb and flow in that top lane as well, because it started off with Ruin being able to play well, Zeros teleporting away, still staying even on CS. He then started getting solo kills, but then Ruin just does that underneath the tower, and the entire game has swung in favor of the Fenerbahçe top laner. Looking for that turret as well. Naul and Meliodas there. Ruin will take it out, stun locks Meliodas, but can't really do too much more. Naul flashing forward with that stolen summoner, and they will take down the top laner from Fenerbahçe. But Kirei is answering on the other side of the map. This is exactly what you need to do if you're Fenerbahçe. Take objectives away from the Lee Sin, away from the Zoe.
Yeah, what a beast, honestly. Rune solo kill, gets the dive, finishes off the turret before going down. It was a 3-man play coming up topside, so the fact that he still gets a kill and takes the turret is incredibly good for him. He wants to be in that side lane. He has been losing those 1v1 fights, and now going to be in a bit of a better position. Does look like he's going towards the second item. Zonia's at least has picked up his stopwatch in addition to an amp tome, so it could just be stopwatch into something else. But Zonia's would be very effective. There's a lot of physical damage on this squad. You know, Lee Sin and Hecarim in particular are kind of the two members that he's interacting with the most, so something like Seekers can be very effective.
Only one outer tower remains for both the teams now, as well as top fours in favor of Phong Vũ Buffalo. About 1,000 gold between the two, but nothing too monumental at this point in the game. Everyone's sitting at their first completed items. They are looking at Hades, seeing that if he can scale up towards that 3-item powerful team fighting Lucian. And this is just what Ruin can do, you know?
Yep.
So much damage with that Hextech Gunblade.
Yeah, and Zeros, I think he was honestly just trying to bait it, right? Like he was staying up there at very low HP. The only reason you stay up there is because Naul and Meliodas are roaming up, but he was so low HP, didn't calculate correctly, but now they're on to Rune here.
Slicing Maelstrom used, still has the stopwatch, but Meliodas can just get the chase. There's no one here to save Ruin. He gets a lot of damage down, but it's not enough to take down either Zeros or Meliodas. Kirei is on the other side of the map at the moment. No real objectives there for them either. The Dragon's still about 2 minutes away from spawning.
Yeah, it's interesting how much it feels like Kirei has been prioritizing the bottom lane when, you know, generally it is kind of that split push win condition for Fenerbahçe, and Rune getting killed there is very, very costly because not only does he go down, but that was the stopwatch that he just purchased up. So that's 600 gold kind of down the drain, so to speak. You know, until you can turn that into a Zonia's, you're not getting much out of it.
Everyone talks about you want to use the stopwatch before you get the Zonias, but you don't want to use it as soon as you buy it, right? You want to
at least
keep it for a better moment.
For a good moment, right? You know, less about when you use it, more about how effective it is when you use it. So either way, not going to be too happy about going down there. But in the background of this, Bolulu is playing the Azir. That's something we haven't really talked about much.
Haven't really touched mid that much at all this time.
No, I mean, it hasn't really been the story besides some roams from Naul, a couple roams from Bolulu. These guys have been kind of quietly farming away, and Azir is a monster in the late game. Also does... Oh,
chasing here by Kirei. Put the Mountain Dread down, but Zeros able to get away with the devastating charge. And you can see very even between those two mids right now, even on CS. Pretty big gold lead actually for Naul because of those turret plates he picked up with the Rift Herb.
Yeah, he got solo first turret mid as well as basically every plate, so that's really where that enormous advantage is coming from. But you know, Azir has really nice interaction actually with the Kindred ultimate, being able to shuffle people out of the Lamb's Respite as well. So if Phong Vũ is trying to kind of dogpile into that, trying to set up for that, you can deny their ability to do so with the Azir ultimate.
think this is sort of the level of game we expected looking at the top two teams in our group. Both 2-0 so far, and it's been cut and thrust. It's been back and forth. Both teams finding advantages on opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, and they're responding really well, right? You know, it's not like either one of these teams is kind of feeling lost at any time. When one team makes a punch up towards the top side, the other is going to respond on the bottom side. These two junglers are both answering each other's pressure very well. Now they're on a Kirei.
Kirei caught out, has Lamb's Dress, will pop it, but Meliodas just kicks him out of it. Back into BigKoro, who take the kill. Japone now not in the best of shapes as the Sonic Wave connects. Naul with a long-range paddle style and another kill for the Lee Sin. Phong Vũ Buffalo get two. They get a dragon off the back of it as well.
Yeah, and grabbing that mountain is going to be really nice around 20 minutes here as the Baron is going to be on the table soon. Kirei certainly had the better early minutes of the game, but it has been all about Meliodas in these last 10 minutes or so. 3-0-4 now, has been really, really dominant and starting to kind of take over this game.
It definitely is. Lee Sin, can have a huge amount of utility as the game develops. Obviously, his damage, his ability to assassinate people does fall off just a little bit, but Meliodas still finding those picks, still finding those catches. He's running the Conqueror for the extra damage and extended trades as well.
Definitely going to be feeling pretty good about that, and as BigKoro is working towards his second item, Rage Blade, that is such a critical point in the game for the Kaisa.
Okay.
Really when Kaisa does start to turn on, and I think can be extremely powerful in the team fights, so we'll see if Phong Vũ want to look to kind of change up the strategy, start to group a little bit more as some of these items do come through. Because Rage Blade now completed, you have 2 items for your Zoe. A lot of these critical items are coming through. Lee's already on 2 items. You can see the Righteous Glory is going to be shortly completed by Zeros as well. So you have a Mountain Dragon. You have the ability to team fight with these power spikes. Maybe they start grouping and actually looking to establish vision around that Baron and try to force.
The risk always is, though, Fenerbahçe have a pretty strong team-fighting team as well. You've got a Kennen, you've got an Azir, you've got a Kindred, you've got a Lucian sitting at 2 items as well. If Fenerbahçe don't get caught with the initial poke from the Zoe, if they don't get caught with the Unstoppable Onslaught, they can be incredibly impactful in these team fights.
And that is where I think vision becomes so incredibly important, because if you're team fighting into a Zoe and you don't have vision on the Zoe, it's so easy for Naul to set up these Sleepy Bubble Troubles as well as a lot of the Paddle Star poke. And that is why they are moving now in as a squad. You want to set up pinks, you want to set up these pockets of vision from which Naul can poke. Because if you have to walk in blind as a Kindred into a Zoe, you can just be instantly dead. Really the only one who can face check this whatsoever is Japone on the Braum, and even that can be risky because this is not a true tank.
Yeah, he's not that tanky at all at the moment. Building up towards the Knight's Vow, but apart from that, only has the awarding item. They'll clear out vision in the Baron pit for the moment, have that control ward in there as well. They are the push and the priority that we talk about when you look at vision around Baron. A team will push forward, get vision control, then they have to go and answer the mid wave, answer the top wave. They lose the ability to step into the river, and the enemy team then pushes forward and gets vision control. We'll probably see this for a few minutes until one team steps over the plate, one team is a little bit impatient and tries to make a play.
Yeah, it definitely can be the case, and that's also where, mini wave control can become very important, because if you have control of mid lane, you generally have access to that river. So if you can have someone constantly pushing up, controlling that area, then you will be able to have the opportunity. But 1v1 here on the bottom side.
Ruin uses the stopwatch, tries to get his rotation back up, lands the stun on Zeros and just takes him out. If you can win the 1v1 as the Kennen from behind, you can totally change the fortunes of the game for your team. Hades caught out by Meliodas, pops the culling, the Sonic Wave going to connect. Jump in from BigKoro into the backline. They kill the Lucian. Naul there as well from the side. Hero's entrance trying to catch on Kirei. Japone down to about 200 HP. Kirei just about survives with the Lance Dress by BigKoro. Maybe oversteps. Kirei actually running out of his own ultimate there. Up towards the top side. Bolulu's just trying to do what he can. And here comes the Cannon teleporting in. The shuffle in. Bolulu. Pallet there as well. The taunt lands on Ruin just in time to save Meliodas. And it's a double kill for Phong Vũ. A perfect fight from the Vietnamese representatives.
Yeah, and this could be them going over to Baron. You still have Lee Sin. You have your Rage Blade Kaisa as well, and Braum teleports in, but he has no ultimate, he has no Zonias. What are you going to do in that position? And all he does is end up giving up another kill there. It's going to be Phong Vũ Buffalo grabbing themselves the Baron, and a huge advantage in this game.
What a moment in this game. You have to feel it might be a deciding team fight here. Ruin does a perfect job of catching out Zeros.
Yeah, certainly. Zeros, wanted that fight. He was looking for the engage, goes straight on in, but he holds onto that ultimate a little bit too long, does go down. Meliodas looking for Hades. A really nice dash, denies the initial ward hop kick, but then he hits the Q, kick flash, straight in. Hades goes down. Kirei coming over, Bolulu coming over, but Naul is able to escape and now down to the bottom side. Zeros looking for a kill.
Flash away from Kirei here as Hades comes in for the chase. Zeros trying to get away with the devastating charge, but doesn't really have any tools at his disposal. Just trying to distract Fenerbahçe for as long as possible because the rest of PVB are pushing him mid.
That is a good pick, though, to try to slow down this Baron power play because, yes, they will lose the mid-tier 2, but Phong Vũ cannot go forward in a 5v4 now. They may not be able to get quite as much off the map as they otherwise would have been. So getting that early pick, taking the Baron buff off the split pusher, will give Fenerbahçe some semblance of control here. But still, Phong Vũ not dissuaded, feeling confident. And they are at a significant advantage over 5K ahead at this point, and Meliodas may actually fancy this fight in the side lane here with Rune.
Black Cleaver, Warrior, Enchant into Ruin. He's sitting on the Hextech. Zonya still has the stopwatch. Pops the Slicing Maelstrom straight into the stopwatch. The stun comes out. Meliodas with the kick. Going to do a lot of damage. He has a stopwatch of his own. Naul on his way, but Meliodas almost falls. Ruin takes the kill. The Paddle Star will land. Naul will take a counter, but in 2v1, Ruin still gets a kill.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade, and you took a Baron buff off him. I think you're going to be pretty happy with that as Rune, especially when that was a big shutdown. Meliodas could have played it more slowly, perhaps. Very confident in his place in the game, knows he's really strong, but there's no MR on him whatsoever. And this is an AP Kennen who's going to put out a lot of pressure. So Kirei now over here around this dragon. Would love to get that scuttle mark, would love to get the mountain dragon.
It really feels like PVB are saying we want to up the tempo a little bit. You talked about the 2 items on the Kaisa. They have that Ginsu's complete, and they're trying just to force a few more fights, to force a few more plays. And sometimes it can work out incredibly well. Sometimes you win the team fight 4v5, you get the Baron. But sometimes you lose a Baron buff in a side lane, and you can see the Baron power play only sitting about 2,300 gold. That's not a monumental advantage to take from such a big objective.
Yeah, definitely not whatsoever, and and that is because I think of some of this work that Rune is getting done in the side lane, right? He got the solo kill on Zeros earlier on, now getting another kill here on Meliodas. This was honestly a very kind of risky play that Meliodas is going for. The Kennen is very strong. You are 2 levels down on this guy as well, and he does give up his life. He does give up the stopwatch. That's going to be turned into a GA probably here pretty soon, and Naul was able to trade it back, but the shutdown goes over onto the Kennen. That's now 3 items completed on this guy. He's on the Void Staff now too. So he's going to be very, very strong.
I think I would be remiss. Captain Flowers educated me on Void Stuff earlier today. About 91 magic resist you need to hit the threshold where Void Stuff is effective. I don't see that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of MR.
Maybe the Banshee spell gives Naul enough for it to be past the threshold, but apart from that, there's really no MR on the side of Phong Vũ Buffalo.
I agree. I don't think it's really the item to go for here, but they're looking for Zeros.
Yeah, Zeros just caught out in that bottom lane. Ruin goes in with a Slicing Maelstrom. It may not be the itemized choice that is the most efficient, but it's working out for Ruin in that side lane. PVB answering on the other side of the map, though. They will take a tower in the top lane. 5 towers to 2, about 5,000 gold ahead for PVB.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact whether it's efficient or not, you're still going up against a Hecarim who has only armor and health.
Yep.
He has no MR whatsoever in that build, and he's going to be very vulnerable as a result. So certainly, Rune starting to establish some very solid control in the side lane, and this is often how Fenerbahçe is able to pull games back. In with the Gunblade for the slow, lands the initial stun, he is locked down in the Slicing Maelstrom. Very well engaged, very well done there by Kirei and Rune, and I feel like a lot of the hopes of the team are on them, as well as Bolulu, who is on 2.5 items now on the Azir, and it's kind of this awkward situation for Phong Vũ, because yes, you have your Kaisa scaling, but Lee Sin is going to start to fall off. The Zoe, scales very well, but Azir is an absolute monster in the team fighting, so it does feel like they're trying to force sometimes, but maybe not doing all their due diligence before.
Even the itemization choices from Fenerbahçe give them a little bit more strength in the late game as well. With the Essence Revolution, we talked about it when he picked up that first item, now has the Infinity Edge, now has the Rapid Fire Cannon as well, so much more of a team fighting threat than the early game menace you see from the Blade of Ruin King Lucian.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting at 75% crit already, so that is, pretty monstrous, and is going to be able to put out a huge amount of damage if he is able to get in range and actually connect with some of these guys. You're also going to have very shortly a 3-item Kindred, who's also going to be putting out a tremendous amount of damage. So it's kind of about Japone and Rune creating space, not so much diving, but kind of zoning for the Azir, the Lucian, and the Kindred here. Whereas on the other side, Zeros and Meliodas and Pallet, they have to be diving in, and that's how they kind of try to look for a kill, try to burst someone down before Kindred could save them.
So I really like this play from Fenerbahçe. They say there's nothing to take on the top side of the map. Let's take 3 players down towards the bottom side. There's no Baron for 30 seconds. There's no towers for them to take either. And Zeros now has to try and win in a 3v1. Pops the Unstoppable Onslaught to get away. Concussive Blows will not proc. Phong Vũ Buffalo are going to try and get push in mid and top, but there's no waves for them to do it with.
Not just yet, but we'll see if they can actually look for any potential dive, because the waves are coming in now. You can see Japone heading back, trying to get over there, as is Kirei, and the window is closing for any sort of potential dive, but Baron is now on the map in 5 seconds. The next dragon is going to be Infernal, and these are 2 critical objectives. Infernal so powerful in the late game, and Zeros has no alternate to escape.
Cone is there for Zeros, but Kirei on the chase around the corner. Zeros caught out. The Baron has been done by Phong Vũ Buffalo. Now the question is, will Fenerbahçe react in time? All 5 members alive in a 4v5 Phong Vũ Buffalo. They got the Baron down to 2,000. They'll smite it. They'll secure it. But Fenerbahçe are not going to give this one up without a fight. They want to keep the chase going. They want to keep the fight alive. Bolulu jumps across the wall. Naul misses the sleepy trouble bubble. Fenerbahçe still chasing this one down. Ruin on the flank as well. You can see they can't see where Phong Vũ Buffalo are, but now PVB are on the wrong side of the map. Fenerbahçe coming in 5 men strong. The taunt lands for Pallet with a slide back. Kindred dies. Kirei out. Lands respite not there. BigKoro jumps onto the back line. The most colossal play from the biggest of Koros as the hero's entrance comes down. They'll kill the Azir. They'll take out Fenerbahçe. Ruin has to flash for his life. And PVB somehow come out on top in a 4v5.
Phong Vũ Buffalo team fighting their way out of what looked like a doomed position there. It was 4v5 for them. They hide in the bush. They burst down Kirei. They're actually TPing in. He has ultimate shortly.
He can take out Japone pretty easily here. Will devastating charge him out. Hades tries to flash away, but the Ignite is ticking. Not quite enough damage to kill the Lucian, but with Baron buff, Phong Vũ Buffalo can just look for the cleanup crew here. Zeros gets the double. Baron buff pushing in. Only Ruin and Kirei left alive for Fenerbahçe.
Yeah, they just turned the game on its head. Zeros may go down here to Ruin. We'll see if they can take him out, but they can't. And now they have cracked the base. They're knocking down this inhibitor. Their top inhibitor tower is under siege as well. Fenerbahçe losing so much off of that fight.
An incredibly courageous call from PVB to stick on the Baron, to take it, and then for BigKoro to dive on the backline and take the fight. What a play by PVB, and they are showing us why they are the strongest team in their region and why they are the favorites for this group.
Yeah, they certainly are, and Kirei now on the hunt here for Zeros. Will not be able to get him down. But still, that was incredible team fighting, not only bursting down Kirei before the Lamb's Spike came out, because if you can't do that, you probably just lose the fight. So that is a very critical play, and here we are back to much earlier, where they do find Zeros. They had already forced this ultimate earlier, so they are able to jump onto him. They are able to get the kill, but at the same time, Phong Vũ Buffalo were on the Baron. They burst it down. But as all of Fenerbahçe arrives, you think, oh God, they're corralled, they're gonna be caught out. But look at Pallet. He had so much patience. He does not go for the Baron recall. The team pulls them back towards him. He is still, I don't believe, been spotted. The taunt right here, taunt, flash, Justice Punch, completely bursts down Kirei. That was incredible. And then in goes BigKoro. You wanna talk about a good stopwatch. That may have just won them the game. Ults in, the delivery system for Pallet. So this bot lane from Phong Vũ turns the game on its head. That was incredible.
Ruin trading here onto Zeros in this top lane, but Zeros wins out on those ones now. Ruin, nothing he can do. The rest of Phong Vũ Buffalo down towards this bottom side. Naul pushing in mid, waiting for those Baron minions to come in. Fenerbahçe going to take the fight down towards bot lane. Meliodas in the GA. Pallet and BigKoro running away. Naul on his way down as well, maybe trying to save his jungler, but they can't do it quite yet. Fenerbahçe do find a kill, but they have to answer the waves. They're pushing in mid and in top lane. The sleep lands onto Japone. Top comes out, but you don't even need assistance if you're Zoe at this point in the game. Lands another long-range paddle star onto Kirei, and the rest of Phong Vũ Buffalo just looking for this final inhibitor.
Yeah, and if they get this triple inhib, it feels like it's almost completely doomed here for Fenerbahçe, and they are closing in on the end of this game. Kirei may just go down.
Phong Vũ Buffalo, the home team, looking for a clean 3-0 in the first round robin, looking to solidify themselves as the new Vietnamese representatives This is the region that made Gigabyte Marines. This is the region that makes teams that challenge the best. And Phong Vũ Buffalo is showing us they are looking for that team liquid best of 5. Here comes Ruin immediately into the sleep. BigKoro trying to get away, has the GA just dodging around as much as he can. The Lamb's best fight used. There's the hero's entrance as well. And they might just turn it around. BigKoro still alive somehow. Once again stepping up. And Phong Vũ Buffalo are just wiping away Fenerbahçe.
They're so low though.
And Fenerbahçe might be able to turn this one around. They get the shut down. The chase continues as Ruin almost gets the final kill. Pallet got the blast cone out, but you have to think Ruin will take him out. It's a triple. Zeros staying around maybe a little bit too long here. The devastating charge is going to run out. Meliodas has the flank position, but Japone looking for that Winter's Bite. Ruin in with the lightning rush. Japone has the flank. Zeros trying to get away with the E. Just needs one auto attack from Japone, and there it goes. Zeros going to be stunned up. It will be a delayed quadra for Ruin. The shutdown comes out. Maybe even a penta here is Meliodas.
What is Meliodas doing?
He just stayed around way too long. The Glacial Fissure hits. The Slicing Maelstrom's back up. And it's a delayed penta kill for Ruin from Fenerbahçe.
Oh, Meliodas just ran it down at the end there. But Fenerbahçe, some beautiful team fighting to stay alive. Kirei flashing forward onto BigKoro. The marksman is separated from the team, and they decide to re-engage. They decide to try to go in and save him, but they're not quite able to do so. They take down Kirei. A beautiful ultimate there from Bolulu. Keeps his team alive, and Hades kiting back. You can see Pallet, Zeros out of mana. BigKoro gets burst down, and Ruin is on the chase. Able to clean up multiple kills here as Pallet not able to get out. And Zeros, it almost felt like he was deciding, do I come back? And he was maybe thinking, okay, maybe we can save him, maybe we can do something about this. But then Zeros is going to get chased down, and Meliodas, I honestly have
just not been there.
No idea what he was thinking walking in here. As the Lee Sin in the 1v2, they're both 100% HP. Like, what is the thought process here? There's nothing positive that can come from this. So he just gives over another kill and a delayed penta for Ruin. Absolutely monstrous team fight. That is a full build Death Cap Kennen now.
Oh, dear God, that's incredibly powerful. The Death Cap as well on Azir, Bolulu. If they can get these team fights off, Fenerbahçe can still win, but
they are still triple inhib though, and Baron is up, right? You know, they have such a difficult time to actually navigate their way out of this game. Zeros is going to head down to the bot lane. All Phong Vũ has to do is wait. You wait, and then once the minions are pushed in, you start the Baron. And if they come to you, you back off and you let those minions push. But they are starting it up. They have been spotted. Can Kirei do anything about this?
No teleport on Ruin. Can't join this fight. Kirei unable to get towards the Baron. BigKoro secures that for Phong Vũ Buffalo. Zeros trading with Ruin down towards the bottom lane. Kirei goes into Lamb's Rest by Hades having to flash away as well. Bolulu there. They will get the kill on Zeros, but BigKoro kills Kirei. Hades falls, and it's Fenerbahçe in a 3v4 trying to defend their base. Inhibitors have respawned in mid and top. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble only lands on towards Japone. And Naul getting chased in here. The hero's entrance, Bolulu shuffles in, but Meliodas has the kick and will kick back Japone. Bolulu down towards the bottom side, needs to survive. It's a 2v4. Here comes Ruin. What can you do? No Slicing Maelstrom to save you this time. It's another for BigKoro. Shuts down the Azir and shuts down all hope. Fenerbahçe have a winning this game, you have to feel. Ruin flashes forward, but doesn't have the ult, doesn't have a chance in hell to survive. And Phong Vũ Buffalo finally will take the Nexus towers, will take the Nexus, and will take a 3-0 in the first round robin.
And what a slugfest it was between Fenerbahçe and Phong Vũ Buffalo, back and forth, time and time again. Alternate teams taking the lead, but it was Phong Vũ Buffalo, who were more coordinated on the day, who had better team fighting down the stretch. They were the ones getting the Barons, taking the objectives, and really did a great job to close out this game.
That was a fun game of League of Legends to watch as well. Incredible stuff from both these teams. I think you can see that slightly higher level of skill and decision-making amongst them than in Isurus Gaming and Bombers, but both Isurus and Bombers have challenged Fenerbahçe. Maybe can challenge Phong Vũ Buffalo with just a couple of alterations. So coming into that second round robin, there's still all to play for.
Yeah, Fenerbahçe certainly had their moments in that game, but when you look over at Phong Vũ Buffalo, it was their focus on the objectives, focus on taking down turrets, on pressuring the map, on setting up objectives that really made the difference there. I mean, that was such a back and forth game, but they never even lost a tier 2 tower, right?
True.
You know, they take 2 Barons, they cleaned out the map, and really, honestly, very impressive play from them here so far today.
Incredible stuff all around. Have to see how they continue to play through that next round robin. You can see Fenerbahçe did have a little bit of a lead in the early game, getting that bottom lane ahead, getting Hades those kills early on, but we never really saw them snowball that away from Phong Vũ. And a lot of that is PVB actually just making good decisions and making good calls on the map. And
you have to give a lot of credit to BigKoro and Palette. I think their team fighting was outstanding. Even in the 2v2, despite the fact that they did get put down, they were able to find a 2v2 kill. The Lucian had a lot of gold, had a lot of items, but was never able to find that effectiveness. And likewise for Bolulu, honestly, it never really felt like the Azir was able to show up. It was mostly about Rune in the side lane. He was getting kills, but because he was constantly expending his ultimate in the 1v1, he was never able to have it, it felt like, for when he TP'd in for the team fights.
That's true, and we never really had a coordinated team fight from Fenerbahçe. It always felt scattered across the sides, and part of that, of course, is Phong Vũ Buffalo getting the disruption in,
and
with
finding
the
the engages,
finding the engages. And I wonder if Fenerbahçe could have just maybe change their composition a little bit to have a bit more of a coordinated engage and a coordinated fight.
Yeah, it's always possible. You know,
it's very easy in hindsight to say this was the mistake.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you can look at compositions, but I tend to think that this is mostly down to just play and to the decisions they made in the game. And I think that, you know, this was certainly a very impressive game from Phong Vũ. And while the fights were back and forth, they were always the ones kind of with their eyes on the prize and setting up for the objectives.
They definitely were. Let's have a look at how these standings are after the first round robin. Phong Vũ Buffalo in the top of the standings, 3-0, Fenerbahçe 2-1, Bombers 1-2, and eSports Gaming sitting at 0-3.
Yeah, definitely a very impressive first half here from Phong Vũ Buffalo, and a PVB win in the next game will eliminate eSports and the Bombers from first place contention. They would not be able to match that 4-win record. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. It would just be then a two-horse race between Fenerbahçe and the Buffalo.
And then, of course, you've still got Bombers and eSports playing for that pride. Bombers, especially in their first international performance, will be wanting to show that OS is not just a region that can be counted out in the group stage. They have performed pretty well so far, but I'm sure they've got a little bit more to give.
Yeah, they definitely want to be taking wins against these top squads. You know, there's so much expectation for their squad. This was supposed to be the super team. A lot of the OPL analysts, a lot of the OPL coaches and players talking about how this, you know, is the squad that was going to kind of make that splash at the international stage in OPL. It has been a lot of disappointment for them internationally.
It has across the last few years. Where if you want to dominate lane and teamfight with style, be sure to get the official MSI 2019 skin. It's Conqueror Alistair for 975 RP. He'll also be available in bundle form with a fancy loading screen border and the MSI ward. 25% of all revenue from Conqueror Alistair and his bundle will go towards teams competing at MSI. I always love the Alistair skins, firstly, and Conqueror skins as well. I just think the whole style of them is actually really fun.
Yeah, it definitely looks pretty sick. And it's always nice to see the prize pool go up for the players.
Definitely is. We'll see if the hometown favorites can stay undefeated at MSI 2019 as they face off against Bombers after the